Vince, I'm going to pull these numbers up. Let's start with this run game matchup between Notre Dame and Stanford.
Okay.
The Notre Dame rushing offense against the Stanford rush defense.
And look, the Notre Dame run offense is not vintage Notre Dame run offense, okay? They're still in the 60s, 70s, and then there's an 80 right there as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is not your dad's rush offense from Notre Dame, okay? So I think that is very important when you're looking at these numbers. And everybody in the chat knows that. They know that this isn't a vintage Notre Dame run team. But I can tell you right now, Stanford would kill to have the numbers that Notre Dame has right now. And when you look at Stanford's numbers, there's only 130 teams, as a reminder to everybody out there. That's the lowest you can be is 130. And every one of these numbers is in the 120s. So, I mean.
And heading in the wrong direction.
Holy moly.
It's really bad. I mean, and the thing about it is, Vince, is it's gotten worse but it's gotten worse as the season's gone on.
Sure.
But they've been bad all year. And we had this the other day. I'll read it again. From the first game to the last game, this is what Stanford's rush defense has done. 200 yards allowed, 185, 247 to Vanderbilt, 204, 228, 255, 100 against Washington State, 229, 441, and Utah, I believe, had over 300 at halftime. They ended up with 441, 218, and then last week 352 to Cal. Yards per carry 6.5, 5.6, 5.6, 3.9, 4.2, 5.8, 3.7, 5.5, 9.6, 4.3, and 10.4. They've given up at least 2 rushing touchdowns in all but 2 games. In the last 3 games, they've given up 12 rushing touchdowns. They are bad. And the thing about it is, Vince, when you watch the film, they're consistently out-leveraged. They are consistently pushed around up front, and they don't tackle well. I mean, it's a combination of multiple factors, and this is one of the least athletic Power 5 defenses you will find.
Right. Yep.
I mean,
they're just slow to the football. I mean, we talk about Notre Dame being so good defensively at rallying to the football on the perimeter. You're just not going to see that in this game. They're a step slow across the board, and when you're a step slow and you're playing a team that is as good as Notre Dame, and I'll say it, as good as they are offensively, especially against a team like this, it's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, Vince, this is a situation where one of the things that was overlooked about Stanford during their glory years under Harbaugh, and then of course the great stretch that Coach Shaw had, they were always sneaky good in the secondary, and they were always really tough and physical at linebacker.
Yeah.
They're still tough and physical at linebacker. They're just not as talented as they've been at linebacker. And their secondary is really just not good. Now, their front 3 was decent early, but outside of Thomas Booker, they just get shoved around. And that's really going to be the key for Notre Dame in this game is Thomas Booker. The recruit Knicks are going to know that name. He was a kid that Stanford beat Notre Dame for. He's a good football player. He's an NFL caliber guy, not a high NFL draft pick, but he's an NFL guy.
Somebody that get paid on Sundays.
He's big and strong. So you have to have a plan for Thomas Booker. But outside of him, I mean, the rest of that defensive line, they just push the guys around. I mean, I'm watching Utah, and I'm watching even UCLA, and I'm watching Cal just push them 3-4 yards off the ball.
Yeah.
And it was kind of sad. It was like watching like a professional athlete that hung around like 3 years too long. Better yet, boxing. You get these boxers that used to be great fighters that are still fighting in their 40s and 50s, and you just watching it's just sad to see this once great fighter just collecting a paycheck while some bum beats him up.
Right.
And that's how I feel when I watch Stanford. I had a lot of respect for what Stanford did. Now I watch them and it's just like, ugh. Like they're just bad.
Yeah.
And, but so now here's what I want to see, Vince. Two things. Number one, Notre Dame needs to have success running the football. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Here's the risk, though.
If you're going to say what I think you're going to say,
go.
My fear my fear of this game is that, and it was my fear going into Georgia Tech too, and I think I audibleized it in one of the shows. My fear is that Notre Dame's going to see these numbers too, and they're going to be like, man, let's just go 12 personnel, pound it down their throat, and they're not going to be able to stop us.
Yep.
You know what? The answer is you're right. They're not going to be able to stop you.
But it doesn't make you a better team.
Exactly. And it does not get you ready for whatever your next game is going to be.
Right. Because you're not going to beat Georgia that way.
Right. Yeah. That next game is either going to be against Georgia or somebody in the college football playoff.
Because that's the mindset, though. Yes. That right there, Vince. Right. Notre Dame has to say, if things go our way, we're getting Georgia.
Right.
In the first round.
That's absolutely the mindset.
That's how you're saying. So how can we prepare ourselves? or if things go our way, but a little not so good for some other teams, we're getting Ohio State.
Yeah.
Either way, our offense has to be something that it's not in 12 and 13 personnel.
Exactly.
And now, that doesn't mean I don't want to see 12 personnel. It wasn't 12 personnel so much. I mean, we saw them take some big shots at it. It's 12 personnel and just pound the ball.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what – now, it'd probably work against Stanford. But it doesn't make you better.
Exactly.
And that's the danger. So continue to get your yards, but get it from running the offense the way that you have for the last month, which is tempo, speed, spread the field, stretch them out, create run lanes and holes for your your running back to then go make plays. Keep being who you are and building on who you are. Don't get – and this isn't a concern for Notre Dame specifically. This is always my concern when you're playing a team this bad. And it was a concern when I coached. I don't know if you ever saw defenses like this, but you kind of run into this, hey, I know we can just line up and pound these guys. Let's go out there and pound them, puff our stats up and get a big W. But then it doesn't make you better for the next week, and that's the key.
That's 100% the key.
And so that's what you want to see from Coach Reese is, hey, keep that pedal to the metal, man, because you're not building your team to beat Stanford.
Right.
You're building your team to beat Georgia and Ohio State and Cincinnati or Alabama or Oklahoma State or whoever you might get in the college football playoff or one of those teams in a New Year's Six Bowl.
Right. Because this is your last tune-up. I mean, this is your last opportunity to go up against somebody who is not your team, right? This is your last chance for a month. Right. No matter what bowl you're playing in, this is your last chance for a month. So you need to make yourself better and you need to get ready for whoever, because even if it's a New Year's Six Bowl, you're going to be playing a team that's better than Stanford. Okay. Right. And in order to win that game, you've got to, I know.
There's not a bowl they're going to play in where that team's not going to be better than Stanford.
Right. Exactly. So the goal isn't to beat Stanford. That will be all part and parcel with you doing what you do. The win will take care of itself. Don't worry about that. Okay. Again, you're not scheming to beat Stanford. Okay. You are not scheming to beat anybody. You're scheming to make yourself play the way Notre Dame
plays. It's about your identity. And Notre Dame has finally established an identity with this football team that works. And now this game is about tattooing that thing on your chest.
Yes.
Right? Absolutely. You've been coming up with the design. You have it written out. Now it's time to take it to the tattoo artist and have them put it right there on your chest, right here over your heart, right here. Yep. Bam. That's who you are. Now, I think that's how it works. I don't have any tattoos, so I'm assuming that's how it works.
I don't know.
But that's where I'm coming from, Vince. It's about you've worked to get here. You've worked to kind of finally say, hey, we've gotten to the point where we really feel good about who we are. Now it's don't take a step back, take another step forward and just cement it like this is your DNA now. And again, it could be they score 38 points by the halftime or 31 points by halftime, and they only score 14 in the second half with your backups. It's not the point, right? It's about continuing to establish your identity and earning a really convincing win. That to me is so important to this game. And this is the matchup right here that concerns me with that because it can get really easy to just come out and say, hey, let's just go get this dub and go home.
Because that's the I don't want to use the word lazy because that's not what I mean, but that's the easy go-to. Look at these numbers, guys. I mean, we can line up and we can just pound them and it doesn't matter. And we'll just, blow them off the field and it doesn't matter. Run the clock, blah, blah, blah. That's the old mentality. That's not the mentality I want to see on Saturday night. Are you laughing at your tattoo request?
Before we move on to the pass game. Rick Doyle says, Brian, you should get body on a body tattooed on your chest. I don't know if anyone that doesn't listen to this show would take that the right way. That sounds like something a dude that's just waiting to get sent to prison
Yeah.
gets tattooed on his chest.
You'd be
So
getting some interesting conversations at the beach. Let's just put it that
yes,
way.
yes. Oh goodness gracious! All right, so again, this is a matchup that to me, and here's something else I want to see from this game, Vince. A guy that we've been very critical of this year, and rightfully so, that is coming off of a very good performance is Kane Madden.
Yeah.
I need to see him and Josh Lugg finish the season off on a strong note.
Right.
That's something that I need to see. If he can put two, again, Stanford's going to present a little different matchup than Georgia Tech did because Stanford's front three are not good, but they're at least big.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so if Notre Dame can kind of come off and get some movement on them the way they did Georgia Tech, that's also going to be a good sign because again, you need to stay who you are. Tempo, get the ball outside,
Mm-hmm.
spread the field, be who you are. But that doesn't mean you can't do that and move people.
Right.
And that's, because right now it's still been body on a body, right? It's still been that all season. But if you can be body on a body with some push, then it gets real interesting on what this offense can be. So that's another part of this. It's look, they're going to get their yards. It's just going to happen. But are they getting their yards because they're just way better than Stanford? Are they getting their yards because, again, they're building on what they're doing? That's the final piece of this that, Vince, that to me, I really am curious to see in this matchup.
Yep.